Special guest in the studio, the Baka Boyz here, 53 past the hour.
Good morning. We're going to welcome you. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, it's the Baka, baby. It's the Baka Boyz in the morning. In the morning, it's the Baka Boyz, and we got some special guests for you. The name is Abe and Gabe Pagtama.
Abe and Gabe Pagtama. Welcome to the Baka Boyz show.
Thank you so much, you guys, for bringing us on. I really appreciate it. I grew up on you guys.
I
really.
know.
Wait, what do you mean grew up on us?
I grew up on you guys. You know,
You got to be careful, bro, how you talk. No, I know what you're saying.
Forever 21.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting us. Appreciate it.
No doubt. You brought your father up here this morning as well. Now you're bringing something to us, to our listeners and audience, that we didn't know about. Based on true events, it's the Watsonville Riots going back to the 1930s. Wow. So the story's got to come from Dad first, right? And he told you about these stories, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
Yes.
he growing up, my dad, he was working on the farm along with my Lolo, my grandfather. He was working on the farm, so they used to tell me stories.
Yeah.
They used to tell me stories like working on the farm, and I'm like, can you read about this?
Yeah, and you couldn't find it anywhere.
Couldn't find this anywhere. So it's very historical that I put together this story, and it's basically on the 1930s of Filipino Americans working in the farms.
And this is in Watsonville, which is close to Salinas here on the California Bay Area coast here. So, Pops, let me go to Abraham. When did you get to America? What year?
Actually, I was born in Hawaii.
You were born in Hawaii?
Okay.
Because of my dad, he were what they call sacadas. Mm-hmm. And they were recruited from the Philippines to work in a farm in Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
So that's where I was born.
Okay, I got you. So now the Riots. There was
Watsonville,
excuse me. Watsonville Riots. Tell me about it. What was going on? What was the hoopla? I mean, people have to farm. We have to get all this product, but they were fighting over what space, or like, was it Mexicans versus Filipinos? Was it white people versus Filipinos? Tell me what it was.
Yeah. So what was going on during the 1930s? The Philippines was a commonwealth of the United States, so we were like Puerto Rico and Guam right now.
Gotcha.
And so at that time, they were the Tiffy-McGuffey Act. They were shipping actually a lot of Mexicans back to Mexico. So the cheapest thing to do makes sense was to get Filipinos from the Philippines, hire them from the farms in the Philippines, ship them to America, and they started working on the farms. And because at that time in the 30s, there weren't that many Filipinos during that time. It was kind of different. So they looked at us like, who are these? They look like monkeys.
They look like Mexicans, but they're not Mexicans.
Yeah, they're not.
Okay.
So their only form of socialism was to go. You heard of like taxi dances? Yeah, taxi dances where you pay a dime a dance to dance.
Okay.
So that's where they socialize with a lot of the other ethnicities, mostly white girls, and they couldn't at that time. They couldn't marry at the time. They couldn't bring any of their
family members
at the time.
So they had to marry white folks.
So
yeah, there was a law in Hawaii California, that you can't marry whites.
Oh, okay. So you can't marry anybody. You can't have sex. You can't procreate. You can't bring your family. So you're kind of alone, right?
Yeah. So what they did, they walk around town. They're like, the white townsmen in the town. They're like, who are these monkeys?
Wow.
And the thing is that the Filipinos, they use a lot of their money to dress well.
Yeah.
They use a lot of money for like gambling and dancing with girls.
Okay.
And,
lap dances.
Yeah, because
in the 30s.
In the 30s, they didn't really see any point of saving money.
Okay.
Because it's like, what's the point? We can't own land.
Right.
Yeah, they're young.
That had to be very frustrating.
Yeah.
It had to be frustrating for anybody to come from a different country to come here to work, and you can't procreate, you can't marry, you can't do anything. So you're like working and in terrible conditions. More than likely are hard to live. No showers, maybe no housing.
Yes, it's like a chicken cage. They were staying in a farm when they were recruited in the Philippines. They were told, everything is fine, because that's what they say about America. But when they got here, it was a different story.
Right.
That, they get paid $1 a day.
Okay.
Damn.
And of course, they have to pay for their
Their food,
lodging and all
lodging,
that.
yeah. So they charge
So,
them. They start taking money off of the dollar a day.
Correct.
So if you want to stay here and you want to work, we're going to take 50 cents off of your dollar.
Yes, so they don't have anything, and the thing is that they're not allowed to bring their wife,
Their
or
family.
their family.
Yeah.
So majority are young, 18 years old, 19 years old,
Right.
Filipinos. So the only thing they can do is to work. That's what they were hired for. Because at that time there were a lot of Mexicans, but they were getting rid of them.
They were trying to get rid of the Mexicans.
That's right.
And bring in cheaper labor.
Right, because they were technically, because it's Commonwealth, they were
Yeah,
American
Commonwealth.
citizens.
Yeah, you're American citizens, but you're treated like you're slaves.
Yeah,
Correct.
They
They
Oh,
were
it sounds
not-
like what's going on here today. It's still happening.
It's still happening. That's the reason why it's somebody should remember these things, because I think there were a lot of changes since then.
Yeah.
Where there still is.
Yeah.
But we're more free to do. We can marry anybody, and it's changed. That's what I like about America.
Yeah.
They adapt to change.
Yes.
So we are changing. That's why we're in radio right now.
Yep.
Where we can do this.
Definitely.
Yeah,
But before you don't have anything.
You don't have the outlets
That's right.
or the
yeah.
voice to put it
You're
out
not
there.
allowed.
Yeah, you weren't allowed, and then now you have a book now, and it's based on the whole Watsonville riots. And you were were you part of this? You seen everything?
Well,
Or did you-
I arrived in the United States in 1964. I was born in Hawaii, but I grew up in the Philippines.
Okay.
So I went to work in Delano. So
Delano.
You know where the
Yeah, we know Delano is.
So,
It's by Bakersfield.
It's one of the
Yeah,
biggest
so,
Filipino strongholds
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
California.
And there were a lot of intermarriage between Filipinos and Mexicans.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
yeah.
So that's the really reason why they call us the Latinos in Asia, because of that.
Yeah.
And because also we were under Spanish for 300 years.
Yep.
So technically we have a lot of Spanish that went to the Philippines and become intermarriage and something like that.
Gotcha.
But going back to our story, the reason why I told Gabe about this, because there was something, and if you Google Watsonville Riots, you will say find out what happened there.
What happened there?
Yeah.
And so there was no stories out there to be. So
No,
you had to
that
do some
was-
research. Where did you research? How did you get some of this information you put in this book here?
Yeah, it took me over 3 years to do research on the history, and really all it is just a one paragraph Wikipedia and about the Watsonville riots
Really?
on the internet. So I kind of went into their world and imagined what their life would be like. I read other books like American in the Heart by Carlos Bulusan, and trying to imagine and live and paint a picture in words of what their life could have been like.
Let me ask you this: now that this has come out, and how long has it been out, by the way?
It just came out April 1st on my birthday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it just came out.
So let me ask you this: what has been the response been from the Filipino community that never even heard about this story?
It's been tremendous. Slowly, but surely, my dad and I are just the only ones promoting. You guys are
Okay.
really helping me out,
Yeah.
promoting it. Appreciate it.
For sure.
But just people that we meet at festivals and parties and events, they're all embracing it and buying it. Everybody's buying it. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So, what are some of the things that people are saying after they read the story? I mean, is this a sense of Is it? Would it be pride? Would it be concern? Or would it be like, wow, this has really happened to our people here? It puts a different stripe on the history of Filipinos in America, right?
Right. Yeah, they were pretty much. They're pretty embracing it. They're some of them. A lot of the young university and college students, they've heard about it. They're really embracing it. They want to read more about it.
Yeah.
And the older folks, I've actually ran into some relatives that their father was at Watsonville at that time.
Okay.
And it's amazing that there are a lot of travelers. They traveled a lot, so they're like workers that are traveling all over, seasonal workers, and they were pretty embracing it.
All right, so we're talking about based on true events. It's the Watsonville Riots. It's happening in the 1930s. Here's 5 things about the Watsonville Riots you probably don't know that none of us know. January 18th, 2015 marked the 85th anniversary of the Watsonville Riots. Here are 5 things you probably did not know about those riots. Watsonville Riots? Watsonville Riots was a period of intense racial violence targeting Filipino Americans community. It began on January 18th, 1930 in Watsonville, California. It quickly spread throughout the state cities like San Francisco, Stockton, San Jose, and Gilroy. What happened here? During the riots, mobs dragged Filipinos from their homes. They were dragged out into the streets, beaten up almost to death. People died. Filipino homes were peppered with bullets, businesses were threatened, and at least in one case, blown up. Neighborhoods were destroyed, and we mentioned that people died. Of course, innocent people were killed. Despite all of these, the Filipino community kept their spirits up, as you can see in this photo I'm looking at right here. Why did it happen? This was all happening within the context of the Great Depression. As you all know, the 1930s was around the Great Depression. Nobody had anything. There was lines to line up for food. There was the stock market dropped out. The U.S. occupation of the Philippines during this period of Filipino American community was overwhelmingly composed of young bachelors brought to as a source of cheap labor. By the 1930s, Filipino Americans agriculture workers became the dominant Asian labor force, and that's just three things right there that has happened to give us a little insight what happened in the 1930s here. And thank you for bringing light to this. I thought it was important to bring you up here, not only because our community here is heavily Filipino inspired. We have a lot of Filipino friends and family and brothers, and also we worked together at the Beat in 1999 and that 92.3 The Beat. And to see you from working on the street team and promotions department to doing what you're doing now, it's a sense of pride for me to share with you and our audience as well, to just to share what you have become and what you're doing. So I'm proud of you, and thank you very much for doing this for the community. Even though this is not a Mexican thing, it doesn't matter. We're still brothers and we still live in the same area. So this is important knowledge that needs to be shared for everybody out there. So
where can people get the book?
Yeah, thank you so much. You can pick it up on Amazon.com, or I got a bit.ly/based on true events, or hashtag based on true events, Watsonville Riots.
And what about social media? If anybody want to follow, do you have anything for the book or anything specific?
Yeah, I think so. Social media, you can find it based on true events. You can find it based on true events on Facebook. Search it, hashtag.
And we can't let you go without mentioning Mama San Turon. All right, you brought us some food this morning. Tell us, everybody, what you brought, and talk about the family market over there in Pasadena.
Yeah, have you heard of the baklava? Baklava? Yeah, so this is
a dessert.
It is the Filipino baklava.
Okay.
And it's, how'd you like it?
I loved it. I like banana. Okay. Number one, this is kind of like I want to say a spring roll, breakfast spring roll with a banana inside,
like
right?
a dessert.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly, definitely a dessert. So thank you for bringing this with us. And if you guys want to get some of this at the family restaurant, the market, tell them where it's at, brother.
Yeah, it's in the city of Pasadena, the most famous Filipino restaurant in Pasadena. It's called Chase Family Market. They're right on Allen. And you can pick up some Mama San's Turon.
All right, man. Thank you guys for coming through. Abe and Gabe, Taro. Yes. Pagtama. Get the book. Based on true events, Watsonville Riots.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.